This is Alan Moy from Hastings Crossing TV, Living History series. It's been rumored that Jimi Hendrix played the Smiling Buddha Cabaret. We've interviewed dozens of people. Half of them say there's no way Jimi played the Smiling Buddha Cabaret, impossible. The other half are adamant that Jimi played. They were there, they saw him play.
At that time, no guitars. Like the 50s and 60s, until later in the 60s. Yeah. And during the rock period, then the guitar came on, so Hendrix may have played at that time.
I was in there one night when I saw this guy playing left hand.
I don't know personally, but I know that Hendrix has played there.
Sure as heck, one of the nights, I don't know whether it was the Wailers or the Ventures, the guitar player was out, Jimi went on, and took off from there.
When you sort of discovered Jimi Hendrix's sound?
Well, I didn't discover it. He stole my sound. So that was my sound he was using.
Lightning Lenny Siemens played the Smiling Buddha in 1963. Was said to have influenced Jimi Hendrix. Jimi Hendrix, he visited the Smiling Buddha Cabaret when Lightning Lenny Siemens was playing guitar, and was influenced by some of the overdrive and amplifier manipulation.
Well, I remember Hendrix hanging around, and he was trying to get started in the music business.
I've heard rumors that he didn't actually play there. He played other clubs, or maybe just dropped in and jammed or something like that. Right?
But I know for a fact that Hendrix was down there. And he used to go watch Lenny Siemens play.
In '67, when Hendrix's first album came out, all of a sudden my phone's ringing off the hook. Oh, can you come play with us? Oh, can you come and play with us? Can you play with us? You know, so it was kind of like, I had a bad taste in my mouth from that.
How I remember all this is that when Hendrix came out with that sound, that distortion, I used to go watch Lenny Siemens. I said, I'll bet you Hendrix took that. I know for a fact, because Lenny Siemens used to take his amp, bass and volume full bore, and put it against the wall, and all the sound would come out of the back distorted. And then Lenny also loosened off a couple of power tubes. And he had that sustain, exactly like Hendrix, the way he played through the big Marshalls. So I honestly say that he must have got that idea from Lenny Siemens. Now, I just was over in Victoria a couple of years ago, and I played with Lenny, and I went to his basement, and he's got these huge Marshall amps and everything. And you know what? He still plays the same way, and he was a polished Santana in those days. He sounds exactly like Santana. And all that distortion, you know. So I know for sure that Hendrix was there.
Well, prove it.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, that's easy. I sang as a white guy rhythm and blues before Elvis. No, I didn't. Come on.
You know, Jimi Hendrix's uncle was a guy named David Kearney, who played with Ray Charles, and he's kind of the guy that Jimi learned guitar off when he was, you know. So I don't know about that story.
Do you remember seeing him in the room?
Well, at that time I didn't know who Jimi Hendrix was.
Right.
Okay, but there was a lot of Afro-American people came in there.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, certainly I knew who Guitar Shorty was.
Yeah.
But I saw him when I was like 13 years old, so I knew who he was.
His guitar playing, others have copied, but nobody's original with anything. He was a piece of B.B. King, if you listen. He was a piece of other guitar players that played. But for him, Lightning to, you know, to say, oh, it was all my stuff he took. Well, he might have lifted a riff or something. Who knows?
Okay, I'm here with Malcolm and Andrew from SPC, and I have to ask the question, What do you know about Jimi Hendrix playing the Smiling Buddha?
We've heard lots of stories throughout, I guess, the build and being in here that he had filled in for his uncle when he got maybe a little too intoxicated, and he would fill in sort of later in the evening for the house band that his uncle apparently played in. But, you know, I don't know for sure. Those are just stories that I've been told.
And so Henry, when you say Henry has this letter, was he there with Jimi Hendrix?
I don't know. You have to read the letter.
Right, okay.
But I can send you a copy of it. So
Yeah.
I've got it on my computer, so it's not a big deal. It's a verification letter, right?
Right.
Verifies that that he believes that Jimi Hendrix saw me play down there, and that's where he got his sound from.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, that's what we need to know.
And also Hendrix was trying to get into with Tommy Chong.
Cheech and Chong used to work there, you know, and I know Jimi Hendrix used to work there.
One of the bass players from the Animals, he says, "Why don't you go to London?" And that's how that started, you know.
He had played there from Jimi Hendrix to DOA. I thought, this is the only time I'm going to be included in the same sentence as Jimi Hendrix in my life. I really enjoyed that particular moment, right? But I've heard rumors that he didn't actually play there. He played other clubs, or maybe just dropped in and jammed or something like that.
Yes, he played at the Smiling Buddha. This is a story that a lot of people say is not true, but the man did. I was in there one night when I saw this guy playing left-hand guitar, and sure enough, he ended up being Jimi Hendrix years later.
Like Lashman, he used to say, if you guys don't turn down, I'll bring the girls back, you know. I fired Jimmy, and I'm going to fire you. Okay. Well.
I didn't know who he was, but I thought he was good. You know what I mean? I thought he really knew he was good too, because he would do things with gyrations and steps and stuff with his guitar. When they let him have a solo almost in every song they'd play. And it didn't last longer than 2 weeks there, though. He was there 2 weeks, and I think he went back to Seattle.
I didn't know of Joplin playing there. I don't think Joplin would have played there because she was pretty famous by then. Although she may have, you know, I'm not saying she didn't, but it would surprise me if she had.
I remember going there and someone telling me, you know, Jimi Hendrix used to play here. And I'm going, yeah, right, bullshit. But found out later, it's true. He actually did used to play there, which is pretty amazing when you think about it.
We're here today at the Jimi Hendrix Shrine on the corner of Main and Union Street, just outside of the Hastings Crossing catchment, to interview and have a look around to see if we can gather any more evidence that tells us whether Jimmy played the Smiling Buddha Cabaret. Let's go inside and talk to the guys in the Jimi Hendrix Shrine. Did Jimi Hendrix play the Smiling Buddha Cabaret, to your knowledge?
Yes, he did, definitely, several times. And apparently several times he got kicked out from the stage because he was playing too loud.
I've heard that story.
Yeah.